Ladies and gentlemen, I find myself compelled this evening to address a matter of some constitutional delicacy. But let's be honest, delicacy is not the MOT just when you're discussing an administration that deploys masked agents in unmarked vehicles to conduct warrantless arrests. It's a Stasi operation, conducted by people who have clearly never actually read the Constitution they claim to revere. Now, I must confess a certain dark amusement at the spectacle before us. Here we have an administration invoking, and I want you to appreciate the full absurdity of this, an act from 1798, a statute conceived when the ink was barely dry on the Constitution, when the founders were still nervously glancing over their shoulders at the French Revolution. This hoary piece of emergency legislation was previously dusted off only during actual declared wars, the War of 1812, World War I, World War II. And now, it is being wielded against Venezuelan gang members, as though the Tren de Aragua represents an existential military threat equivalent to Imperial Japan. It is insane. And where do these creative arrests occur? Everywhere now. Schools. Because nothing says land of the free quite like terrorizing children by snatching their parents from drop-off zones. Hospitals. Because the gravely ill make for such a flight risk. Churches. Those notorious havens for international criminal masterminds seeking sanctuary between hymns. The administration has even thoughtfully provided agents with blank warrant forms to be filled in after the arrests are made. A nice touch that. It rather puts the cart before the horse, but hey, who's counting? But here is where it becomes truly Kafkaesque. Those detained are processed through expedited removal. A beautiful Orwellian term meaning deportation without ever seeing a judge, without legal representation, without meaningful review. The administration has expanded this procedure from border areas to the entire country. From people who have been here for 2 weeks to people who have been here for 2 years. One moment you're a legal humanitarian parolee. The next moment, with a stroke of the presidential pen, you are inadmissible and subject to immediate expulsion. No hearing, no appeal. Just a one-way ticket to wherever the Department of Homeland Security feels like sending you. Now we're told that this is all about law and order. That hoary conservative rallying cry. But here's the thing about law and order. It requires at minimum law. Not wartime statutes misapplied during peacetime. Not blank warrants filled in post hoc. Not the wholesale abandonment of Fourth Amendment protections. Not the executive branch simply ignoring judicial orders it finds inconvenient. That's not law and order. That is simply order. The kind one finds in authoritarian states, where the trains run on time, and the secret police operate with impunity. There's a rather chilling historical precedent for all this, you know. Masked agents operating in anonymity. Conducting arbitrary arrests, answering only to executive authority, deployed domestically against populations deemed undesirable. We used to have a name for such forces in other countries. We used to condemn them. Now apparently we're building our own. The founders would be appalled. They created a system of checks and balances precisely to prevent this kind of executive overreach. They guaranteed due process. They prohibited unreasonable searches and seizures. They separated civilian law enforcement from military power. What should alarm us is that in the year 2025 in the United States of America, we have decided that constitutional protections are negotiable, that judicial orders are optional, and that the rule of law is whatever the Department of Homeland Security says it is on any given Tuesday. So, yes, by all means, let us continue to invoke the Alien Enemies Act. Let us fill detention centers beyond capacity. Let us conduct raids in schools and hospitals. Let us call it law and order while we do it. Because nothing says constitutional republic quite like executive power unchecked by courts. I suppose we should be grateful for one thing, at least we're being perfectly honest about what we've become. The mask has slipped. Quite literally, since the agents are wearing them.